Welcome Testomat partners. This is a report on AKKA's final results in Testomat. Let me introduce you to AKKA briefly. Today AKKA is represented in almost 30 countries at 70 locations. They form the regional focus for our customer projects, and we therefore are able to meet the individual global requirements directly on site. At the same time, our 20,600 colleagues worldwide provide a huge potential to implement any global project. The business unit Germany counts some 5,000 employees at 36 locations. Following a well-balanced corporate strategy, the AKKA Group serves customers, manufacturers as well as supplier companies in highly varied industrial sectors and implements their global location strategies. Thus, reviewing last year's activities, AKKA's development is based on activities in the two European core markets, France and Germany, up to becoming an internationally established group. Thereby, the most important sectors for AKKA nowadays are the automotive and aviation and space sectors. Within the automotive sector, we provide a wide variety of services and technologies. AKKA at Testomat takes the role of a use case provider and problem owner in the context of the automotive industry.
Let's continue with our final results. The use case of AKKA has reached its final state as a demonstrator. It is powered by continuous integration environment, implementing all necessary steps for model-based software development and testing on all representative test instances. The core features are Git as source code control and Jenkins as continuous integration environment. MATLAB Simulink is used for model-based software development, and one automated Raspberry Pi is the hardware platform. The test instances are model in the loop, software in the loop, and hardware in the loop. This is the software module battery charging approval of our use case. It is defined by 10 functional requirements. 7 non-functional requirements were added for our collaboration partners. The requirements were implemented in a MATLAB Simulink model. By collaborating with Spleo, we used Testomat to model the requirements as a classification tree and generate all test cases. Those produce 100% requirements coverage. Testomat offers the option to assign values for priority, error, and occurrence probabilities, which are then used to generate prioritized tests. This is an example test case. It defines all input values and the expected output. It also contains the snippet to execute the system under test and evaluate the result. You can see the development of the use case KPIs during project period. Over time, more and more test cases were implemented, and more test instances got enabled until the current and final state was reached. The setup produced 100% requirements coverage and implements 824 identical test cases on each test instance. Total runtime for one run is approximately 7 minutes, and it heavily depends on handling MATLAB programmatically. The final test instance, hardware in the loop, is protected, and thus the use case reached milestone 5. As use case provider, we supply our collaboration partners. They needed an extension to our use case to apply their tools more efficiently. 2 modules were added which are defined by 13 requirements. We also supplied information about the volatility and priority of each requirement and non-functional requirements.
AKKA successfully cooperated with many partners. We used the tools Modica and Testomat by Spleo to effectively maximize requirements coverage. By applying prioritization methods of these tools, we were able to evaluate different approaches without a decrease of code and requirements coverage. IFAC applied their tooling model-based test. They implemented our requirements in a formal language and generated executable tests from that. Tests were prioritized using supplied information about volatility and importance of each requirement. An adapter is implemented to enable communication with our hardware and run the tests against the target ECU. KTH applied machine learning-based tests on our use case. The tool suite automatically explores the model under test and rebuilds the functionality. Upon that, tests are generated. Requirements are also linked into the learned model to optimize test generation for requirement coverage. Alerion MGEP applied their SPT tool to prioritize test cases, which were generated in a previous step by Testomat. Priority is determined by the uniqueness and distance of the input parameters of each test case. Thus, we get an ordered test suite where the first test cases differ the most from each other. Office analyzed an extended version of our use case in their simulation environment to find rare events. These rare events are inputs to define highly important test cases and avoid severe failures of our system. The product DTP by Parasoft can analyze and evaluate a great amount of data from CI/CD systems. We prototypically use the tool to visualize our test results. We use Parasoft C++ test for static code analysis and code coverage measurements. AKKA also collaborated on booklets for test prioritization metrics and tools. The result of our collaboration with Office were documented in a case study. AKKA presented a paper about applying security principles in CI environments at Automotive Meets Electronics 2019 in Dortmund. AKKA also joined IFAC in writing a paper out NLP-based requirements modeling. Thanks for listening and watching.